All right, everybody. The victory horns have sounded, and they sound for Tatsuro Tyra. Bounces back. There are people questioning Tatsuro Tyra a little bit after his loss to Brandon Royval. He took almost a year away, 10 months to be exact, and he bounces back and just decimates, dominates, and destroys Hyun Park in the main event. And Tatsuro Tyra is back. He's calling for title fights. He has Michael Bisping questioning his call-out abilities. The man just making waves all over the place. He's welcome you to the UFC Vegas 108 post-fight show. I am Mike Heck, and joining me to discuss the epic return to the UFC Apex for the first time since May 31st, when the main event of that card was canceled at the last second. What a triumphant return, Jed Mishu, was it not? Back at the Apex, we did the thing. How are you?
I'm good. We did the thing. You know, I hadn't missed the Apex, and I still don't. I'm sad we're coming back next week because a lot of really fun stuff happened tonight, Mike. I'm not here to tell anybody this was the best card ever, but all the fights we thought would be rippers were rippers. A couple of Fight of the Year candidates. And it all just went over a little less fun because it was in the Apex. But still, free night of fights, assuming you have ESPN Plus. Not a bad way to spend an evening if you had nothing else to do. And I'm excited to be here and talk with you about, I don't know, 40 minutes. Figure that's probably what we're going for tonight. But let's find out.
Yeah, it was funny because I had literally tweeted out before the Ribovich fight that I feel like this card had been on for 8 hours. It just, and I don't even blame like the fights, because I don't think the fights were all that bad. And obviously there were some good performances, but the pacing of this card was brutal. Like, this was PFL 2022 pacing. Like, we got to the desk like 4 times during the prelims. Like, that should not be happening. This card just kind of took forever. But once Ribovich and Brenner started getting after it, business picked up real quick. It was, the last 3 fights were pretty damn good, especially the 2 lightweight fights, which we'll talk about. But it all was capped up by Tatsuro Tyra, Jed Mishu. Guy goes in there. He's a pretty sizable favorite, taking on Hyun Park, and compared to some of the opponents he had faced in the past, pretty significant step back. But Park was he was kind of a favorite underdog, I guess. Like, a lot of people were picking Park to go out there and shock some folks because he is a finisher and he has looked good, and he was 10-0 and entering his physical peak. But Jed, Tatsuro Tyra said, nope, not tonight. I got something to prove. And the man did it, did he not?
Oh, 100%. I did not pick Park to win. I still thought Tyra was going to win, but I didn't bet Tyra in the climb this week because I was like, I don't know, man. He's coming off his first loss fight that I know he got a card in that split decision, but well, let's be honest, he did not deserve a card. Even though that and you guys talked about it in the preview show. I was listening to it this morning actually. About how that's one of those losses that you can feel good about, right? Like you take some things away. He certainly did coming in here, but Hyun Park's a pretty good fighter in his own right. Road to UFC champ, has looked really good. Statistically was very good at defending takedowns. He only really had 1 takedown attempted on him tonight, and it promptly led to him getting submitted. We can talk about that in a little bit. But like, he could have produced some interesting things. Maybe just the change of opponents, because he was supposed to be fighting Vincenzo next week, and there's a pretty big delta between the styles of Steve Erceg and Tatsuro Tyra. And, maybe just the moment got to him. It's his first main event. All this thing sort of happened quickly, but he was frozen almost from the get-go. I scored the first round of 10-8 for Taira, and then he promptly finished him like a minute and 20 seconds into round 2. Tatsuro Tyra, like, he did as good as he possibly could have tonight. And in the men's flyweight division right now, that sort of performance maybe gets you a title fight. Probably shouldn't, but that is within the realm of possibility. And even if it doesn't, everybody is leaving this card thinking, yeah, that dude's going to fight for a belt one day. And they should, because he's going to.
I'm looking at scorecards. No one scored it a 10-8. I was with you. I scored it a
That's dumb
10-8.
as shit.
I knocked
If you're
down
not
and
scoring
just
that round of 10-8, then there's what are we doing? Like what are we doing? Do you believe that that round would be the same as pick any round? Nah, I'm trying to think of any round in the Rodolfo Vieira Trayshawn Gore fight. You think that round was the same as anything that happened? That's ludicrous. And it's not just like it's not just ridiculous. It's a very stupid way to score a fight. Like it is very dumb to think I'll give that a 10-9 when like you could conceive pretty obviously of a way that a following round might just be like pretty close and then you're going to call those the same. Insane. Absolutely ridiculous.
Taira's just a hoss, man. Like he's put on a little bit more size during the layoff. Dude just looks super strong. Striking getting better. He's got a little more pop to his strikes, knocking down Park in the first round, which kind of led to dominance. And then the hoist takedown, takes the back, smushes his face, gets the big win. The puzzling thing to me was the post-fight interview. It was very awkward because Taira had basically said, he told me this and has been saying it all along. Look, I lost to Royval. It was a tough fight. But look at this division right now. Pantoja has essentially fought everybody already. We've seen Steve Ursay get a title shot. We saw Kaya Sakura get a title shot. Josh Van has come out of nowhere, and he's getting a title shot. If I go out there and just mush this man, why can't I get a title shot? And that's what he called for. He goes, whoever wins between Pantoja and Van, I want the winner. I don't think it's like a far-fetched call-out, especially in this division. And then Michael Bisping's like, essentially saying like, no, how about a real call out? Give us a real name. And then Michael Bisping was, I don't know if he was mad, but he goes back to the broadcast booth. He's like, he should have called out Brandon Moreno. That's the fight that should have happened, which I like
I
that fight
turned it
too.
off after he left. I did not realize that was a thing that happened. Okay.
Yeah, but he could get a
Uh,
title fight after this win. If he's available and Pants fights Van in relatively short order and they want him to return in December or something, who else is there right now?
he shouldn't fight Moreno because Moreno should fight Kyoji. That's what should be happening. Is those two
Love
dudes
that.
should fist fight, and the winner of that gets a title fight, and that's just the most obvious thing in the world. Uh, I think I think Bisping has all the subtlety of a sledgehammer, right? And like that's really the problem. He just has no craft to basically any aspect of his game. Frankly, like his actual fighting career, like the man was not like a scalpel in there. He was a hammer and he hit you a bunch, and then eventually you would break. And he could have done that better because I kind of agree, right? Like it to your point, I do agree with you. I don't think it is outside the realm of comprehension that Tyra gets a title shot just based on how things are operating at flyweight at the moment. I also don't think it's like super likely, like we're talking 10% outcome here. And so in that circumstance, being like, hey, shoot for the moon, okay. But like give us something else. If that doesn't happen, give us something else and then maybe set the table for something. Maybe the table is and it could have just been as easy a layup as look, I was supposed to fight Amir Albazi. I don't know what happened there. Let's do it. Whatever, let's settle up at the end of the year. And that can be for a title fight. I think the principle of what Bisping was trying to get to, I don't actually have a huge issue with. The manner in which he does it is bad because he's not very good at this. And I'll make no apologies. He was him and Cruz on the call tonight. They were tough scenes for me, man. That it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, Damon Martin's favorite pairing with the color work. Here's the thing, like
As Bayer notes in the comments, Bisping's commentary goes hard on mute. Sure does.
Yeah. And perhaps there's a producer in his ear telling him to re-ask him, and that's very possible. And
I'm certain that that's true.
Right, but there's still a better way you can handle it.
Yeah.
Now, if the producers of the program are like, I want you to set up a fight with Brandon Moreno, And I think the biggest reason why they did that is because Brandon Moreno was in the effing building. He was right there. He's 15 feet away doing the Spanish desk work. You could have just put him on the screen. Like they could have just put him on camera and be like, "Oh, there's Brandon Moreno right there. What do you think of a fight with him?" And then you nail it. And then it's not
Easy.
like it's not disrespectful or anything like that. And that would have been a way better way to set it up. But if they do
Easy. And
Moreno,
that's the
fine.
thing.
But yeah,
And that would be fine. And that's the thing. Like if you're trying to get him to an outcome, get him to that outcome. Like you lead the witness. Tell him what you want to get to. If like that's the point, as opposed to like, well, you're not gonna get what you asked for, so let's try again, dummy. Like that's functionally what Bisping said. Like the dummy was silent, but it was like, well, that's not gonna happen, you dumbass. So why don't you shoot again? Take two. And it's just like it's infuriating. I'm certain there was a producer in his ear telling him this, and I cannot believe. Like I have been watching. There's like if there's one piece of content I have discovered that I love, it is Netflix sports docs. Like I've watched every one of them on every subject, and they are deeply fascinating about subjects I've never cared about, and suddenly I care deeply invested. And this week I've been watching the WWE one. Which I think just came out or whatever. And everybody watching this knows like I'm not a big pro wrestling guy. I've learned a lot more certainly in the past like 12 months about it. But that show is fascinating to watch how the sausage is made and like how intricate everything is going on there. And like one of the big parts that is like that I like maybe would have guessed if you like sat me down and told me to think about it, but I didn't really know is like how much communication is between the production booth and like what's physically happening on TV to like the ref has a mic or has a earpiece and is being told like feed things, keep things on time, etc. And these people are all professionals, and so they can do it and make it seem fairly seamless. But you get a blunt instrument like Bisping, and you've got somebody in his ear being like, "Hey, that's not that like, yeah, he's not gonna get like we want to try and set this up," and he's just like, "Well, that's not gonna happen, you moron. Won't you try again?" Like, what the? Get a real goddamn professional in there. Like you're owned by the same people now. Like genuinely, it is shocking to me to watch that WWE show and like the high end production that is going into every aspect of like a million moving parts. And then just like the total bozo shit that happens on a daily basis in the UFC. She's like, get those people in a room together to have a conference call and just have one dude, whatever the fat dude's name is, Bruce something that sits next to Triple H.
Pritchard.
Get that dude, sure. Get that dude to watch one UFC event backstage and just be like, all of this is bananas. I can't believe this guy's interviewing people. He can't like I could just feed him lines. Like you could button this up in a way that would be so much better, and they don't. And it's just like I don't know what we're doing here because the end of the night was not a celebration of Tatsuro Tyra or the two fight of the year contenders. It was here's Michael Bisping kind of being a little silly.
Yeah. And that's how we remember the show. And the UFC is very good at setting these things up. When they want to do it, they just do it. Josh Van fights Brandon Royval at a fight of the year contender, and then they sit him cage side for Pance's fight to set that up. Juliana Pena wins the women's bantamweight title. They go to a split screen of Kayla Harrison in the locker room watching Pena win after she beat Ketlin Vieira. Like they can do it, and they have done it. So if you want to set up Brandon Moreno, he's literally in the building. Sit him cage side, pull him off the Spanish desk. Do it. Who cares? Like if that's the desired outcome, just sit him down. It's fine.
It all like you just have to start getting rid of these commentators. Like I the more I go, the more I think my greatest take is just that commentators have a shelf life of 3 years. Bisping was never like good, but he was like fine or whatever. But you have 600 people on roster. Let literally any other human being try and do it and see if you can find some, like because you'll never convince me that Michael Bisping is the best option that they have or that Dominic Cruz is the best option. It's just they're the guys who got in first, and basically the history of this company is just like all right, you're here, you'll stay forever because you're like, if you just say yes a bunch. And it's like, there's just no way. Dustin Poirier's retired. He just tweeted about being on the desk. Put that dude in the booth. Let's see if he can do it. If he can't, keep firing until you find somebody like Paul Felder who can ask good questions as
He's
opposed
great.
to fight, and like just be a mouthpiece to a producer in his ear, but not one who just like does like Ron Burgundy's his way through it.
Yeah, Kies is great. He'll be on the Contender Series, so we'll get to see a little bit of him. Uh, Anthony Smith would be a good one. He's done a lot of color work as well, but that's something. Jed, we have bonuses. We have
Okay.
bonuses. Care to take a guess?
They should do 2 fight of the nights. I don't think they're going to. I believe Duncan Rebechki is going to get fight of the night. I think I mean Renya's going to get performance, and give it to Tyra for the other one.
Fight of the night: Chris Duncan versus Batush Rebechki.
Yeah,
Other
that's
bonus.
deserved.
Other bonus goes to the other fight of the night: Esteban
Oh
Ribas
hell
versus
yeah!
Elvis Brado. They did 2 fight of the nights, and that's it.
Good.
Those are the
That's the
bonuses.
correct answer.
100%. So let's go to the 2 fight of the nights, and in my opinion, we'll start with, in my opinion, if the year ended now, and I don't know exactly where I would put this because I'd rewatch all these fights and I would have a great time doing it. I think Chris Duncan versus Batush Rebechki is top 3 fight of the year. That fight was absolute bonkers, absolute bananas. From second one, these two dudes went out and chucked them as hard as they could. They were both bloody messes. Chris Duncan's throwing these insane step in elbows. Rebechki's just kind of walking through them and just throwing hammers. It seems like he broke his left hand, but he's still throwing it out there. He's just a bloody, disgusting mess. Like within 90 seconds of the fight, it's just this way for 15 minutes. That third round was such a battle of attrition, and both guys were landing heavy, heavy shots, and both guys just kept coming after each other. Absolutely insane fight. Chris Duncan gets the win. There was a 30-27 in there, but who gives a shit? I didn't
I'm
agree with
actually fine with
30-27.
that.
Yeah, I thought Rebechki won the first round. I thought Duncan won 2 and 3. I thought that was pretty clear cut. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The right guy won. Holy shit, Jed. What a fight that was.
It was a really fun fight. I'm fine with scoring the first round with Beshki. I didn't. I scored 29-28. I got a little bit of flack on Twitter for that because I said like probably should be. Because like I like in by per the rules, like arguably Duncan did win that because he put a freaking softball in Rebechki's head and cut a 4-inch gash on his eyebrow. And like you are supposed to weight damage more than anything else. And like there were 2 very visible signs of major damage on one fighter and not the other. So like if you want, I think 30-27 is defensible. Not how I scored it. I went 29-28. Totally fine with that. I don't know. This certainly be a top 5 fight of the year. It's insane because immediately, like we're going to talk about it. Immediately before this, I was like, the Ribovich Brenner fight was probably, it was certainly had overtaken the Vallejos Dandy Silva fight, which was a rocker to be fight of the night, and it was it was going to have fight of the year consideration. But that fight feels a little more like maybe that's a Favre at the end of the year, not like gonna be in the top 5. This one feels like it's got a good chance to be in the top 5. I don't know if the top 3, because it kind of depends, right? Because the way fight of the year always breaks down, like occasionally there is the perfect combination, the perfect symbiotic relationship between a fight that is super high level and a fight that is just batshit crazy. And this was not like the most high level fist fight you've ever seen, but it was a rugged blood and guts war of attrition. And there hasn't really been like one of those. There hasn't been like a Izzy Gastelum Poirier Holloway 2 this year. But there have been some really high level good fights that, like if we go Royval Van, like that's a better fight than this. Is it a more
Yeah.
fun fight than this? I don't know. I frankly don't know. And so I don't know how I feel that. I will say in just the fun fight category, and I think my fight of the year front runner at this point in time is Holland Rodriguez because it's just the funniest goddamn fight. That fight's fucking hilarious. Um, and like that, I think that fight was more fun than this fight. Still, certainly, it not winning fight of the night is absolutely hilarious. But like, there's some. It's going to be an interesting year unless somebody comes through and just like blows the doors off everybody in this regard. It's going to be a little bit of a pick your flavor of it, and this absolutely could be a lot of people's flavor. It's going to be hurt into the year by it being 3 round fights are always hurt in fight of the year considerations. 5 rounds just a huge advantage in that regard. And it being in the Apex. This fight probably would have rocked way more if there was a crowd just lose because the crowd of the Apex was losing its mind. All 6 of them. You know, like they were all yelling and being as loud as they can. But like it's like me causing a ruckus in this office right now. Like, there's just not enough bodies to come through the screen and grab your attention like if this was at T-Mobile Arena or something. So but hell of a fight. I'm glad they got the bonus. Glad the next fight we'll talk about got it as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, Rebecki and Ribovic were both in fight of the like top 7 fights of the year last year, and then they're immediately
this was going to be
immediately shifts back to the Apex. Immediately, Ribovic had 2 fights in a row at the friggin' Apex since absolutely that incredible war with Daniel Zellhuber. Like, what are we doing here? These 2 dudes. Rebecki should never be at the Apex. Ribovic should absolutely never be at the Apex. There should probably not be any lightweight fights at the Apex unless they're newcomers.
Yeah,
if we're being honest, like what are we doing here?
That's 100% correct.
So
I would like to take a stand right here, right now. I think it's important that I get this on air at this moment in time. My no selection is wild card, and it's Mateusz Rebecki versus Els Brenner because that'll just be fun as shit. That'll just be fun as shit, man. Let them both rest up for like 6 months, but I don't know, January, just run those 2 dudes into each other. That'll kick ass.
So is it fair to say, and I'm kind of cheating based on previous slacks that you sent out, this is essentially like a 4-man tournament where the a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket?
So I kind of want to say that, but I also sort of actually think that I mean, I guess no. Ribovic lost to Nasrat Haqparast, even though I thought he won that fight.
Same.
I was gonna say, like, kind of feels like Ribovic deserves a real crack up, and Duncan would not be that. But I guess since he did technically lose to Nasrat, you could run it. Sure, just swap them. Put both fights on the same card again, back to back, just to see if we can catch lightning in a bottle twice. And that fight week, everybody can be like, "Do you guys think this is kind of weird?" They're like, "Nah, it makes sense. It was a heater."
Dude, Chris Duncan's won 3 in a row. He's 5-1 in the UFC. I mean, it's a nice little run right now. Who did he? He lost to Manuel Torres.
Also, let me make sure I'm not totally making this up, but I think I'm not because I thought I didn't realize it until too late to do it, and I should have done it because I'm a big dumb bozo. Yes. So the UFC botched it because they're assholes. And outside of putting this fight in the Apex, which is stupid and shitty, they should have put it next week when Christian Leroy Duncan is also fighting. And the 2 Chris Duncans are both undefeated when fighting on cards together. And so I could have done a week over week parlay and didn't do it because I didn't realize it until like literally tonight that Christian Leroy Duncan is fighting next week.
Yeah.
I have cashed that parlay twice. It has happened twice. I have cashed it twice.
That'd have been a great call if you had remembered to do that. Great fight. Chris Duncan on a roll. I think he's a guy. I mean, he might be the most, at least in my eyes, and Casey and I were talking about this on the Q&A, Chris Duncan might be the most overlooked fighter in this division because in our MMA fighting picks, just to pat myself on the back, I went 11-1. The one I got wrong was picking against Chris Duncan, which I have done his last 3 fights. I just can't seem to pick him. And even after the previous win, I was like, I'm not picking against him again. And then they match him up with Mateusz Rebecki. I'm like, damn it. Now I have to pick against him again. And now I don't know what to do with Chris Duncan. He just keeps proving me wrong. So maybe for the benefit of his career, I'll just keep picking against him, and maybe he'll just keep winning until he's UFC champion. So great win for Chris Duncan. Incredible fight. Very interested to see like a post-fight hospital photo between the two of those gentlemen. That'll
Oh
be
yeah.
very fun, and some electric stuff. And then the Rivovich Brenner fight was just awesome, man. Like just a
Dude.
banger. It was very, very good. I thought Rivovich was just going to kill him, and it looked like we
Oh,
might be
did
heading.
you?
I kind of did. I kind of felt like it was gonna
I
be,
was certain that this was the fight we were getting because it's every Ellsbury fight is
yeah,
that he refuses to defend himself and he's tougher than a $2 steak. And like there are just always moments in the fight where it's like, holy shit, I've hit this guy a lot. And then he cracks you and like, God damn, where did that
yeah. 'Cause
come
the first
from?
first round he hurt him bad, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, this thing's gonna be over in the first round. And then Brenner just got tougher, and his chin got better as the fight went on. He got hit a billion times in that fight. It was one of those. And Brenner's just got so much heart, man, and he's fun as hell,
For
and he should
days.
be employed forever. That was one of those.
They should give that man a step back. God damn. You know the run he's on right now?
Yeah, he's fighting a whole bunch of heavy, heavy hitters. I mean,
Dude,
Jesus,
it is he's
Orlby
Joel
Alvarez
Alvarez,
and Reva.
Mikamai, and Ribovich. Like that is a fucking row of hitters, dude. That's a
And before
hard
that,
group.
he beat Kanon,
He
but
got the
got
the
Guram,
Guram
dude.
upset, got people up and about him.
I mean, dude's just fighting really
Let
tough
the man.
competition.
I
He's
was
this
gonna say let the
generation's
man get
Benson
a step
Barboza.
back, except for now he's getting Tushebeshki next. So enjoy the brain damage, elves.
Oh man, it was just a very compelling ass whooping, but a very fun one. And Brenner like gained a lot of fans, despite getting beat up in that fight. Dude's just so tough, man. And Revich is just so fun. This guy's just he's so electric, Jed. He's one of your boys.
Guys, lightweight fucking rocks.
It's the best division of the sport. I don't want to hear any more arguments against.
It's just so good. And like the top of it's gonna be like a little bit of flux to get a bunch of old guys who are finally gonna give up the ghost here a little bit. But dude, like you just pick any lightweight in the top 50 and way more often than not, like they're just gonna be doing silly cool shit to each other. It's awesome. I love this. Like lightweights, you're right. Lightweights just shouldn't fight in the apex, basically. Like we could remove lightweights and bantamweights from the apex, and that'd be okay.
In my personal rankings, I don't have any of those four fighters that competed tonight inside the top 35. That just tells you how
I almost
ridiculous
certainly
this
would have had
division is.
Ribovich in there. I don't do rankings that high.
He's close. He's close right now. He's very, very close.
Ribovich would have been the one who was in, and I suspect I'd have him in the top 35, but I don't do rankings that high.
Yeah, I might.
But I also
I had Rebetchki at 36,
like
but I might. Does he jump? Does he jump Chase Hooper? Probably. You know, that's kind
Chase
of
Hoopers look real good though, man. So
yeah.
the thing,
He's got
lightweight's
big
good. It's a really good weight class.
It's the best damn division in the sport, one of the toughest divisions in all of sports, and it just rocks. Carol Hosa gets a win, back on track. She's just the flip flopper, lose win, lose win, lose win.
Boo.
I bet that did not go well for you.
Hurt. No, my fantasy.
Oh, the fantasy team because you have Nora.
You don't remember? I literally was like, I don't know who to pick between Nora Cole and Carol Hosa, and I believe I asked the Magic 8 Ball, and it told me to go with Nora Cornell. And so, because I just had to get a women's bantamweight, it was one of the two of them. I took Nora Cornell as a loss.
Yeah. It was a tough one. That's tough, Zippy. That's tough zero to take. That's for sure.
The first round, I felt pretty good. I was like, okay, she's an underdog, but she might win this. She's kind of tuning her up. And then she can't stop. She looked atrocious. Like that was outside of like my personal investment. She could not stop a double leg and looked genuinely lost on the ground. And I know that Carol Host is a black belt, but like Granola was not doing anything. Like just doing that. She was just getting beat. It was tough scenes.
We did get a couple of 10-8s in that fight. So there you go. Neil
Yeah,
Magny.
should have.
Neil Magny avoids a 3-fight losing streak. Right back
Snaps
at it,
for him.
Jed. What a birthday. What a birthday present for Neil Magny.
Shout out to AK who slacked me this yesterday and was like, "Is Neil Magny a lock?" And I was like, "Honestly, I think he's a really live dog, and the only reason I didn't bet him is because he's gotten pretty badly knocked out in 2 straight fights, and his chin might just be all the way gone. And granted, he got beat by good fighters, but and like ZDS is a clear step down. Was like historically, this is exactly the fight Neil Magny wins, but he's old, he's fought a lot, and his chin seems to be cracked. And if ZDS can still do something, he can hit people pretty hard. So it's like, I'm just staying away. AK was like, but it's his birthday Sunday. And he was right. Neil Magny, classic vintage performance. Good for him.
Yeah, Neil Magny all over him and got the finish. So
I
good on
mean,
him.
just the most classic Magny performance.
Yep. Kevin Vallejos, great fight with Danny Silva,
Hell
gets it
yeah,
done.
dude. I honestly, I thought that would be the fight we talk about all night because one, that fight ripped, and two, Kevin Vallejos is going to fight for title, and I need you guys to understand that. I really like Danny Silva too. I was very high on him coming off Contender Series, and I think everybody got to see why. He's just a violent, like tougher than $2 steak, super fun. Like he's got that, like he's like Ellsbrenner if Ellsbrenner had talent. And so like he rips, but Kevin Vallejos is the best way I can put this, and have been using this as my example. Kevin Vallejos very nearly beat John Silva on Contender Series the first time around when he was 21. He is by far John Silva's most difficult test. John Silva may be fighting for a belt by the end of next year. And when this kid was 21, he went hammer and tongs with John Silva. He is awesome. He's so talented.
He's very good. Rinny Nakamura.
Argentina got some hitters on him right now.
Damn. Yeah, Rinny Nakamura got hosed
also
by the
going to fight for a
lightweights.
belt.
Yep,
also
he got hosed by the lightweights. Probably the most, if we're talking locks, Rinny Nakamura was the lock of locks against Nathan
The
Fletcher.
climb, step 2,
Climb
baby.
continues. Very smart. Very
Easy,
good
just
climb.
an unbelievable. He was only like minus 420. I think he's minus 425. Which
Value.
I was like, guys, I know he just lost, but like, surely he will just use his wrestling. And then he, didn't. I was like, Nathan Fletcher can't wrestle. Like, what are we doing here? I think Rinny Nakamura might be the most underrated fighter in a very specific way on the entire roster, because people don't recognize that he's like one of the absolute like full stop best prospects in the sport. Like people are tripping over themselves to anoint Bo Nickel as and we were all doing. I was certainly doing. I still think Bo Nickel probably has a bright future in the sport, but like Rinny Nakamura is as accomplished as Bo Nickel. He is also a U23 world champion wrestler who missed out on the Olympic trials or whatever. But like it's the same sort of thing. He is just as talented as Bo Nickel, and actually has kind of looked a little bit better, I would say, in his fights. Granted, his loss, not as good as losing to RDR, future champion. But like, this is a dude who he's going to fight for the belt. Like, he's just going to do it.
Great performance. We got a bunch. We had some middleweights, and boy, it got middleweighty with Rodolfo Vieira and Tresean Gore. Yowzer. That was tough scenes.
Wasn't a very good fight.
No. Andre Pulayev and Nick Klein was pretty fun, because Nick Klein just comes at you 5,000 miles an hour, and then he just dies heading into round 2. He's the Makwan Amirkhani
first round, so I didn't see. I just saw the finish.
Yeah, Nick just sprints at you, runs you over, tackles you, and just beats the piss out of you for like the entirety of the round, and then he's just cooked. He is the middleweight Makwan Amirkhani. It is official. That is who he is. And Pulayev,
not really the comp you ever want to have, but
very fun first round fighter. Might get you out of there. If he doesn't get you out of there in the first round, you'll live bet against him. You could probably make a ton of money that way. Austin Bashi, great bounce back performance. He
also
got
fight for a belt.
I mean, Maybe we should walk
He's
before we
gonna
run a little bit.
yeah, he's gonna fight for a belt one day. He's
I mean,
23.
if he could just keep fighting the John Giannis's of the world, he will certainly
He's
fight
he's
for them.
he's 23. He
Yeah, he's a
like
young man.
I feel very comfortable saying that he will fight for a belt one day.
Do you feel comfortable
That was
saying
why
that?
I liked a lot of this card. They're like future title. Not saying they'll win them, but they're future title challengers up and down this card.
We shall see. I think Bosch is good. I need to see a little bit more before I am on the same pathway with you. And I watched a lot of his regional stuff when he was on when he got on Contender Series. I was like, all right, good. This guy's a very good young man. He's one of the more talented guys. Let's just see if once he gets to
He's
the higher
incredibly
levels.
talented. He mostly fought like decent dudes on the regional scene. And like, I'm sorry, Christian Rodriguez's whole thing is blowing up prospects. I'm not holding that against him. That's what
Okay.
C does, you know?
Rafael Estevam, a workman-like decision win over Felipe Bunez after missing weight by a massive amount. And
That's how you do it.
I had no idea about this until Danny Rubenstein tweeted this out yesterday. And then I hit him up yesterday and asked him about him. Like, I had no idea this is true. It doesn't matter how much you miss weight by. The cap on a weight miss penalty in Nevada now is 25%.
20. Yeah. Oh, 25. Okay.
You can't go any higher. You can't go 30. You can't even ask for it. You cannot go higher than 25%. That's insane.
I actually kind of think that makes sense.
I think that's ridiculous.
I mean,
You can just miss
I think
weight
it
by
should
5
just, I
pounds.
think it
And
should just, no, but I think
yeah.
well, that you just shouldn't have the fight. Like, I think it should be capped because, like, if you miss by more than like 5 is the max, probably we should allow. Um, so it's just like it should just be if you miss, you're fined 25% of your purse, and if you miss by 5, you don't get to fight. That's it.
Yeah. I actually think you should be able to go to 30 or higher if you want to negotiate that. I think it should be up to the managers and to figure that out. And then if the commission
I
allows the
really,
fighters to fight, like, who gives a fuck?
I really hate fining fighters though. For that, like, I get it, and I'm not entirely sure it's wrong, but like, it's just like, I feel like it incentivizes. One, we're taking money from fighters who don't get paid shit anyway, which I never feel like great about. And two, it's just like, what's the old adage? Like, if you're rich, a fine is just the price to break the law. So it's just like you're just incentivizing people to miss weight and take 5 grand, 10, 15 grand less or whatever to just come in 5 pounds over. So it's just
But if
like,
you're Rafael Estevam, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
if
I
I'm him,
know this is a deeply
I'm missing weight
unpopular
every
opinion.
time. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
missing weight. I'm missing weight too. Why not?
this is a deeply unpopular opinion. I don't think fights should happen if the fighters miss weight. I I know that there are not many people on this island. I think the UFC should have a standard policy. If you miss weight, you don't get to fight. Other fighter gets their show money, and we'll book them, 2 weeks from now or whatever it is at their earliest convenience. But make the weight. You agreed to do the goddamn thing. Do the goddamn thing.
Pierre Rodriguez did the goddamn thing. Gets a nice trip to Splitty City and gets out on the right end of the street. Picks up the win over Ketlin Souza, and that is UFC Vegas 108.
And
We
we'll
will
never
remember a
talk
few
about
things.
that fight again.
Yes, there are a few things we will remember, and there's a lot of stuff we won't. But the things we will remember were heaters. Casey, come on in.
A couple of real heaters tonight. Three
Yeah.
really good fights tonight.
Yeah. The card was laid out pretty well, I would say.
And again, honestly, like all of these outcomes are pretty expected. Like we all expected the main event to be fun, maybe a little more competitive, but like still fun. And certainly given the circumstances, the co-main event everyone thought would be a heater.
It was better.
Rubovich Brenner, like it was better than we thought, but like it's still like you would have thought that fight would be great. Rubovich Brenner, you would think that fight would be great. Again, I think that fight felt like it actually felt exactly right on what I thought. Whereas Rebecki Duncan was exceeded my expectations, and I was really certain that Vallejo Standy Silva would be awesome, and it was. It's just like all the main card was really lined up pretty well.
Yeah, I said this on the maybe preview show, but this card to me had a WEC feel, especially if all the highlights of the lower weight classes and guys are just no names, no names, but just we know they're gonna be good. And I agree with what you said, Jed. A lot of maybe not future champions, but guys who will be right in that top 5 in 5, 6 years. You know, we're gonna see their
I
names a
believe
lot.
4 people on this card will fight for belts.
Yeah, this is one of those cards you look back like 6 years from now, you're like, man, that was one crazy talented card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So but one of those cards that
And
it's really
honestly,
just
I said 4. It's probably 5 because women's bantamweight, like Carol Hossa might just find her way into one, you know?
Oh man. All right.
yeah,
What
it's
are the
weird
peeps?
and
Yeah.
yeah, the Hosa cornhole fight was actually the most. I can't believe that was the ranked fight on the card. That was like just the weirdest thing. Like,
It's the one fight between 2 ranked folk. Yep.
yeah, it's just a weird thing. Questions. Here we go. Let's get our super chat first. From Miguel, 4.99 super chat.
Thank you, sir. Jed, how do we feel about Nora Cornoli's Trevor Peak impression with the standing hammer fist?
Standing hammer fists are hilarious. They're not intended to be, but I always find them deeply funny. Cornelia was doing fine before Hosa just tackled her, and then Cornelia was lost, and was just like, all right, well, we know how. Like the third, we didn't need to have the third round of that fight because I would have bet everything I owned or ever will own that. Well, Carol Hosa is just going to come out and shoot a double in at most 15 seconds because it went so easy for her. Like she would have to be the stupidest. I was literally in my house being like, maybe Carol Hosa will just get real stupid. Maybe she'll get stupid and I'll have a chance to get some fantasy points here because the only possible result is her being a total moron and just trying to strike for the next 5 minutes. And that's not what she did. And the fight went exactly how you knew it was going to.
Thank you, Miguel. All right, what else we got here? This is I want this is for Jed. I want him to rant a little more against
I'm
this
excited.
guy.
Who cares about a 10-8 when there's a finish?
I mean, do you just not care about the process to anything, Martin? Like, is it just whatever the outcome is that's the only thing that matters? I don't think that that's a productive way to go through life, but you got to do what you got to do, man. I care about the sport being better. I think honestly, like the through line to any time I am yelling about something, I'm either yelling positively about something because it's very silly and that makes me happy, aka Dricus Duplessis, Reiner de Ritter, that sort of thing, or I'm yelling about something that is like tangibly making the sport worse. And it is hard to be a I honestly think that just like a lot of fight fans aren't sports fans, and that's what is happening here. Because like as like a sports fan, I watch a lot of all sorts of sports, and like by far MMA is the most clown show of it. Not just like it's kind of conceived as a clown show thing because it's physical violence, which is, on the periphery of polite society, but just like every aspect of it is not remotely to the level that like sports that make way less money have like if this is a billion, like this is not a Midwest smoker show. If we were covering like Wild Bill's fight nights, I'd have a lot more latitude on random shit happening because like yeah, in the same way I would about a Pop Warner football game. But this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that is still run functionally like it's managed by children's or potheads from the 1990s. Like there's so many stupid things that could be cleaned up to just make it a better sport that would take very little lift, frankly. And so they will just always be frustrated.
The UFC just parted ways with a 7-1 fighter from their division who was coming off of a win in a fight that I thought was electric compared to what it was on paper. I had a fun time watching Martin Buday fight Marcus Buchecha. It was exactly what I hoped it would be and more. And then they just they were just like, nah, you're good. That's like that's like if the it's like if the Patriots go to their bye week at 7-1, but they won all seven of their games just by kicking field goals. They're just like, you know what? We don't want you back for the second half of the year. We're just going to dump you because you weren't that thrilling to the majority of the fan base. Like that doesn't happen in other sports. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So
It's all and like to this specific point, even Martin, like to go to another football analogy here, right? Like in a regular season game that's meaningless, right? Like the game has already been decided, but a referee just stone blows the most obvious call of all time. Like I'm trying to think, like just some dude punches a guy in the face in front of him and he's just like, no whistle. Okay, well, it was a 50-10 blowout. It doesn't matter. Does that ref then go ref the Super Bowl when it might matter? When that shit is like, this shit matters because it all matters. Like, life is not a random series of occurrences. Every part of it is a piece of the whole. And if you like, there's no, if the design of your scoring is such that you could ever score the first round of Tyra Park the same as I said, any round in Via Adolfo Tresean Gore, then that is wrong. Like there's a fundamental break in your system. It is not working for those two things to be treated equally. And maybe it didn't matter now, but at some point it will. And so we should just fix it because it's not hard to fix these things.
just look at the refereeing. Just look at the refereeing in the sport right now. How many the Pierre Rodriguez fight? There were 3 egregious fence grabs that none of them were called. None of them. And like that does again, this any sort of penalty is called in every other sport except this sport. Unless it is just and even like the egregious ones. You need like 6 eye pokes before a point is taken away. You need like 4 kicks to the ding ding before we even talk about a hard warning before we take a point away. Like it's not like that in other sports. Like you hold the guy's jersey, accidental or not, it's a 10-yard penalty every single time, 100% of the time. So yeah, it's silly, and this is the sport we follow, and that's why the shelf life of an MMA fan is at most 5 years.
It really, like, I genuinely believe that it is a contributing factor into the turnover rate of the sport. It's just like, okay, there's just because it's not true. The the participants of it, the people running it, only barely treat it like a sport. And if you don't believe in your own product in that way, then why should other people believe in your product? Like it's just that's a fundamental thing. So like, yeah, this should be fixed. I at least look forward to. I do think the rules update that's coming at some point. I mean, it has to be voted on at that, which is happening like next week, maybe.
Pretty soon,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's this month. I'm like fairly certain. I think that rules update is it doesn't do enough, but I do think that that's like an improvement, and hopefully that will get us going in a better direction. But like we these should not be things we have to talk about. Like it is ludicrous for anyone to be like who like that wasn't a 10-8 round. Like okay, the sport's broken if you think that that's not a 10-8.
Our sport has a scoring system that was based on another sport. That's
Yeah.
all. I always go back to that.
Stephen Wynn knocked a fighter down 6 times in a round and only got a 10-8. Like that's
But Casey, here's the thing about that. Like that's not like that would work, except for they fundamentally got rid of the single biggest aspect of that other scoring system, i.e., mandatory point deductions. Because in box, like this is what drives me fucking insane. In boxing, like it's a mandatory point deduction for getting dropped. Like if you get dropped, because it is like intrinsically understanding that that is a significant moment, and it is more significant than the general round that happens in a boxing match. And so like that scores. And that is not part of MMA. And in fact, they then spent a full decade actively dissuading 10-8 rounds in general, which is ludicrous.
Yeah.
When it straight up, the sport would be better if it was a mandatory point. If you like every drop got a man, it would genuinely like be a more accurate representation of a fist fight. It may not be perfect. It would be better than what we currently do if you just gave 10-8s every time a fighter got dropped. It is, but they got like that is the straw that stirs the boxing 10-8, 10-point must system, and they just threw it the fuck out to leave us with this shit.
Yeah. I don't 100% agree with the automatic point deduction for getting dropped, but I do see a point. There needs to be way more nuance or something. Yeah,
that's me being hyperbolic. Because I actually just think it would be better than currently. But literally, the point of it in boxing is to differentiate between rounds, and it is like that's not a particularly high bar to clear in boxing. You got to drop a dude. Like in MMA, we are setting the standard where people are like, 3 judges were like, Hyun Sung Park literally had 0.00 offense for 5 minutes, got dropped and had his back held for 4 full minutes, 10-9. That's insane. It's insane that the scoring is not like that is the outcome people think we want. I don't know. It's ludicrous.
All right. We could go on forever about this, but thank you, Martin.
Hey, we got another Apex card next week. I'm sure we'll have scorecards and fence scraps to discuss next week. So happy they did 2 fights of the night. They did it right.
They did it right. I always complain about this. Like 90% of the time, I'm like, what? But got it. Do you guys recall another card with 2 fight of the nights? I'm sure there had to be one.
Somebody asked that earlier, and there must be, but actually, hold on.
It's been a while. If anyone knows, throw in the comments.
You know what? Hold on. Let me look one up. Let me look this up. Nailed it. Hell yeah. You know what it was, Casey?
Atlanta?
UFC 236, Atlanta, baby. They gave fight of the night to Poirier Holloway and Gastelum Izzy. I just was like, there's
back-to-back fights, just like this.
Yeah. I was just like, there's no way they didn't do that. Because we were at that call. It was like, what else could they have possibly? There's no chance. That was literally the 1 and 2 that year for fight of the year.
Yeah.
And so at least that, I would bet that it's happened a couple of other times. Honestly, maybe just in instances where they didn't have finishes, because that used to be a thing.
Yeah.
So but it's definitely not common. And I think it was right. I do believe it was the right call.
Yeah. But because of that, we got to talk about this just because this man was robbed, but yeah, it's just how it had to go.
Still feeling the front kick from Nakamura to the body of Fletcher. That was brutal. We had multiple body kicks.
Tristan, it was not a front kick, by the way. I understand it was a Kakuno kick, the classic Kakuno kick. Google it.
Those toes right into the liver, baby.
Dude, those feel brutal. Have your friend do it. Have your friend give you a light kick. Have him curl your toes up and give it right under the rib. Right. It feels It's not quite. It's not a liver. It's not a liver shot. I think in the original call, they thought it was a liver shot. It's different, but very similar. But I want to shout out to Nakamura for that.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, just that was dope. And
it was dope. Yeah.
I love that we're no longer in the timeline where people pretend that the UFC is going to take care of him backstage. Because that used to always be the line. Like, well, Dana's going to take care of him. It's like, Dana's not there. Mick Maynard's not going to cut that. Mick Maynard might hand him a 20 out of his wallet. Just be like, all right, get yourself a soda pop, kid.
Yeah.
And then get the hell out of here. You can't stay back in the green room while other fights are happening. Get out of this. Get out of here right now.
Yeah, we'll order you an Uber Black to the airport. That's about it. You'll get the nice Uber. I don't know. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, awesome for Nakamura. But you think Nakamura is that good, though? Back to Nakamura. You think he's that good as an overall prospect? I'm not against that.
My concern is he's a little older. I think he's 30 or 29. Yeah, 30. But again, this was a U23 world champion wrestler. He is a physical specimen. Like he should just be like treated exactly the same as Bo Nickel is, frankly. Um, and I
Say no
believe
issue.
most people. I certainly was like Bo Nickel's one of the best prospects in the whole sport. I, he had a setback against Muin Gafarov.
Just
I think that he probably learned to be a little bit smarter there, hopefully. But like, if like I love Malcolm Wellmaker. He's on the fantasy team. Been a huge supporter of Malcolm Wellmaker. I have to assume Rinya Nakamura is a better pick to like have like high end success in the weight class because he's got a better pedigree and they're both old.
all right. Thank you much. We got our friend old Dave. Just wants to talk about Bisbing just a bit.
Keep in mind, Bisbing's already like 7 hours into work at that point. Yeah.
I
So is
will
Paul
say,
Felder.
but Paul Felder's not in there, and that is. I will say this about the UFC: those guys should not be doing commentary for that
Oh,
freaking long. That should be split into two crews. That's all. Just, I mean, because or let Bisbing go, then you let Felder go. It's just too much to be just on to me.
I wouldn't hate that. I think, and again, I'm going to come back to just put like one human being who does other high level production into a room and be like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? You ever notice how you go to boxing, you go to any other sport, like the in ring announcer, the sideline reporter is not the same person who's on the analyst desk or in the commentary booth. They're just all different fucking jobs because they are. Just you are a multi-billion-dollar company. You can have Megan O'Leary step in the cage to do the post fights. You don't have like the company is run as if it is, on the verge of bankruptcy, and we got to get Bisping to do this and this, and then go do the booth. Like no, like you have a commentary team, you have an analyst booth, you have a sideline reporter, you have an in-cage interviewer, you have a ring announcer. Bruce Buffer isn't out there holding up the ring cards between them. Like, get a person for this fucking job, and preferably one who knows how to do it.
Here's what they should do. And I say this, I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. The best night Dominic Cruz has ever had on commentary, or the best overall night he had when it was it was just him and Anik. Anik knows Cruz so well, and he set Cruz up all night. He had nobody to battle with. He didn't have DC trying to like yell at him and Bisbing trying to yell at him. Cruz is great with Felder because Felder isn't like an A personality when he's got the headsets on. Put Bisbing in the Dean Thomas role during those events. Yeah. And if he wants to still do the post-fight interviews, fine. He's not yabbering for 7 hours, then doing post-fight interviews. You go to him after the occasional round for a quick drop-in. Hey, this is what I saw. This is what he needs to do differently. Back to you guys. And then at the end of the fight, if there's a post-fight interview to be had, chuck Bisbing in there to do it. Like, that's fine. You don't need 3 people in the friggin' booth for an Apex card.
Don't put Bisping in to do interviews ever again. But no, you also just shouldn't Freeman. I find it I know that these aren't the same sports. I think that if you spend most of your sports business career being like, I'm going to try and do what the NFL does, you're probably going to largely be really successful. And there aren't 3-man commentary booths going on NFL broadcasts because you don't need them. The third person never fits in, especially the way the UFC does it, where it's 2 fighters and an actual broadcaster. Because then Anik's doing his job, and to your point, Mike, the 2 fighters are then bickering or arguing or podcasting over it, as opposed to broadcasting a fight, a sporting event. It's Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. It's not Joe, Troy, and we threw Tom Brady. They throw him, like they may bring a third person into the booth for a minute to give a separate perspective. But then that is always a circumstance where the broadcaster and the other person are like, so Tom, thanks for stopping by. What are you seeing out there? And it is a very interpersonal one to be about option C. Not the 3 of us are going and trying to figure out how we all fit in. It's not natural. It's a bad dynamic. You should only be doing 2-minute booths in general. And Michael Bisping should never be a post-fight interview. He's bad at it. He's just not good at it. And so hire a person who that's their job. Like Ariel does those at boxing because he is good at that sort of interview. There are people who do this for a living. Let them do it and stop being like, Bisping, let's have you do all these things that you're not particularly good at.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is for so many years, everyone was like, well, UFC has nothing to do with WWE. WWE went to a 3-person broadcast booth. And then what happened like a year later? UFC did the exact same thing. And then boxing did it after the UFC.
Does WWE have a 3-person broadcast booth?
Not anymore. They switched to it too. Maybe like 2 years ago.
Work.
I watched.
You could maybe make it work for that because it's scripted. Like so, you could like there's a little more leeway, but still, it's just like it's too many voices.
Yeah, I just watched freaking SummerSlam tonight, like in the background, 2-person booth for like an event with 50,000 people in a stadium. They just had 2 people in the broadcast booth, and it went fine.
Like I would if somebody from the UFC is watching this, this doesn't have to be on air. I would just honestly like to talk to you and explain to me why you think it is necessary to have a third. Like, what is having Dominic Cruz and Michael Bisping? How is that elevating the product to have them on the same thing? Is it, we owe them X contractual dates? I can't imagine that's it. They're not. One of them is better because then it's a conversation between a fighter and not a fighter. And not here's Anik trying to do play-by-play while Bisping and Cruz take shots at each other about what do you know about pistols? You're from the UK. It's like, actually, I said piston, you deaf motherfucker. Like, it's just like, why is this happening?
Is that the conversation? I didn't understand what was going on. I heard him.
That's a literal thing that happened tonight, Casey.
I heard him talking, but I'm just like, I'm not going to rewind it. I'm just going to be confused and move on.
Michael Bisping was like, he hits like a piston, and Cruz was like, what do you know about guns? You from the UK? And Bisping was like, I said piston, and then to his credit, look, this wasn't like clever, but to his credit, he did at least kind of put a bow on Dominic Cruz being a dumbass by being like, but he throws straight as a bullet. And so, like, credit to you, Bisping, fair play, because Dominic Cruz sucks too. Like, it's just you don't need the third person. You don't.
Yep. PFL Africa, great broadcast. Sean O'Connell, Jimmy Smith, beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'm sure the play-by-play guy would love a 2-person booth. I'm sure for the play-by-play, the 3-person booth is probably a headache for them.
God, man.
Dude, when they moved to a 3-person booth, Anik was bad for like 3 months because he just had to figure out how to do it because they were talking over him constantly. Mm-hmm. And then, but he's a professional broadcaster and he got there. He's still incredibly talented.
Yep.
All of the professional broadcasters are good. They should not get rid of any of them. They should try some new blood.
All right. Thank you, old Dave. 2 super chats before we get out of here. For this very short post-fight show, we're going to do that. Yes. We're now over an hour. So
let's please wrap this.
It never works. It never works. Next week, we'll be like, guys, we're post-showing for 3 hours, and maybe we'll get out of here.
Yeah, we're going to do a 5-hour post show. We'll see ya.
Well, the post show will be longer than the card, we promise.
At least it's a 4-7 next week and not a 6-9.
Oh, that is nice. Today. Big fan of that.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more super chats before we get out.
Steven, boys, everyone talks about PFL, one not making profit. How is Japan MMA going, Ryzen, etc.? You never hear too much negative coming out of there.
Verizon continues to put on dope shows. I have no idea how they do financially. I don't know anyone that does. There's just not like. Yeah. Do you?
I have teammates that fight in Japan. One just came back and fought. He just fought in Pancras, and won his shot, and won a belt in over there, and from all accounts, they're doing good. But Japan's like they just kind of care about Japan. and that
Yeah.
market out there. They don't try to. They're not like the UFC. Like we're the biggest sport ever. They're just like they just do their thing, focus on their fans, and they don't really care too much about the American fans. They just do their thing. I mean,
Pancrase got to be like almost 40 years old now.
yeah.
Still just trucking along.
Yeah,
Yep.
and apparently for he's like a like a 901, 902 lightweight, and he says he's getting paid UFC money, so and for a smaller promotion, so
I have no concept for the financials. Like my sort of default statement or belief is that Verizon will eventually go bankrupt or get into legal trouble because the history of Japanese MMA promotions that have ascended to a certain tier, that's just going to happen. But every time they put on a show, the arena seems packed. It seems rocking. And again, like there's, you don't have to pursue global domination. Like KSW is awesome, and they're concerned with They're concerned with Poland and putting on the best show they can, and operating within their means. And to the best of my understanding, Ryzen is doing that. So
Yeah,
good
dude.
on them.
KSW and the part of the world that they cater towards, they are bigger than the UFC in that part of the world. Like they just are. That's why they're selling out 60,000 plus people in stadiums.
Octagon's like similar.
Octagon's doing great too.
You can own a little niche of the world.
And you want to know what you want to know? Like I don't know Ryzen's financials and I don't know KSW's financials, but you can normally tell kind of the perception within the community by just conversations you have with people. And, I talk to like regional promoters and I talk to everybody, like managers and stuff of that nature. You could tell one was going down the shitter for a few years now.
Yeah.
Just
one has held on way longer than I thought they were.
It's crazy. Somehow
I genuinely thought they were filing bankruptcy last year and they managed to avoid that.
But you never hear a promoter that, at least I haven't heard one in a long time, say like, who I'd love to work with and do like a collab event with, one championship. You don't hear that. You want to know who everyone wants to work with? Ryzen and KSW. They all want to work and do something with those guys. That's value. Like if there's, and these are people like who are very knowledgeable of the MMA space and they know about like the areas that they host shows in and all this stuff. So like they're very researched on this and they're just like, yeah, dude, it'd be freaking cool to like do a event versus Ryzen or do an event with KSW, like a little co-promotion type thing. Like they want to work with these guys and these guys are open to any sort of like fun thing that could happen. So
there's like a very basic but general rule. If you're like interested in a topic like this that I found to hold true, pretty simple. If a promotion is promoting fights when they say they're doing it, they're not shifting locations. There's no hinky business going on with their schedule, and they are promoting fights in arenas that are filled with people, they're probably doing okay. It's not like a 300-person gym or thing, and okay, then they're selling a lot of tickets, and they say they're doing this fight at this location. They go there, probably doing all right.
Hey, thank you much, Stephen. Oh, I've said this a million times, but if you're an MMA fan, save up a couple $1,000, go to Japan, go see a
One year
Rising
I'm
card.
doing New Year's at a Rising card. Got to.
Yeah,
I think it's really like the last thing on my MMA bucket list at this point. Well, that and attending Dricus Duplessis versus Ryan Garrido. I'm not kidding. I'm going to that fight whenever it gets booked. I will be in attendance to that one.
And our last super chat before we call it a night.
Just want to say Paca Porta.
Thank you, Steven.
When's Parker Porter going to get into dirty boxing?
Dude, he's about to become the BKFC heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, he could just be the dirty boxing champion. Like, that's some two not great humans. I mean, the GOAT is fighting for it, but who's Andre Arlovski fighting for it?
For what? The BKFC one?
No, the DBX one, isn't it? Or is he
Oh,
fighting?
Arlovsky's a
is
BKFC
Arlovsky-
now.
Oh, he's fighting? Oh, God.
No,
I can't keep
the
track
Dirty
of it all.
Boxing inaugural heavyweight title will be decided later this month. It is Jairzinho Rosenstrike
Jorginho. That's who it is.
fighting the Wolf Rod Perez. That's
Jorginho. That's who it is. I got it backwards because Arlovsky did fight in DBX,
and he
but
won.
now he won because he's the GOAT.
Because he's the GOAT. And then he won his BKFC fight.
He's the
And then
GOAT.
Ben Rockwell wanted to fight him. So
Stipe's
I don't
not picking up dubs in BKFC. Just saying.
true story. True story. Well, guys, it's on to UFC Vegas 109, but we got on to the next one coming up tomorrow. And then, guys,
What's the co-main
Okay.
event next week, Mike? Off the top of your head.
Oh, son of a
Yeah.
bitch. I know there's more ranked fighters on this card. Plus,
There are.
yeah,
It's Yasmin Lucindo, Angela Hill.
yes. That's the co-main event?
Yeah. Well,
That
it's
would've been my
number
guess.
2. Oh, maybe it's Steve Ursegode Osborne. I don't know.
Oh,
It's
I think
number
that might
2 on the Wikipedia.
Number one in
Love
our
y'all.
hearts. We'll see you next week at the Apex, everybody.
Love y'all.